Welcome. This presentation will review the components that make up a municipality's capital plan and capital budget process. Capital planning involves caring for a community's capital assets. Capital assets include buildings, vehicles, roads, utility infrastructure, heavy equipment, and large-scale IT infrastructure. Capital assets do not include salaries or operating expenses. The first step in caring for existing assets is to know what they are. There are several resources that can be used to start building out this inventory, including a city or town accountant or auditor who should be keeping a list of the municipality's fixed assets, specific departments who should have records regarding all of the buildings and equipment under their control, a building insurance provider who should have records of what they are insuring, along with other relevant details needed to prepare an asset inventory. Once all assets have been identified, an inventory can be completed that includes the condition replacement cost, life cycle, and other details. Maintaining an up-to-date inventory makes it easier to proactively replace or repair aging equipment and facilities. This slide shows an excerpt from an example asset inventory. The asset inventory will likely just take the form of a spreadsheet. The local capital planning policy, supported by a bylaw or ordinance, should assign the responsibility of building the inventory to a specific finance officer or committee. A capital project is a proposal to create, enhance, or rehabilitate a capital asset. The community's financial policies should include a capital project definition. This definition should include a dollar threshold that prevents borrowing for small-scale items that would be better included in the operating budget, set a minimum useful life of the asset to ensure that the purchase is a long-term investment with lasting benefits to the community, and allow for the inclusion for necessary supporting services, such as design and engineering work, or feasibility studies that make large projects possible. This will facilitate a separate capital process for large, long-term investments. A capital improvement plan, or CIP, details the capital investments that a community plans to make over the course of the next 5 years. The CIP should include proposals for spending on projects that replace or enhance a community's capital assets, respond to emerging needs, and comply with financing policies. The capital plan should also be integrated into a municipality's financial forecast. Typically, the first year of the capital plan will comprise the current year's capital budget. The plan may include projects that will not be funded in the upcoming year, but will be in the subsequent 4 years. This allows a community to structure their capital spending in the context of their ongoing fiscal condition. Each project within the plan should include a description, a 5-year expenditure breakdown and proposed funding sources, any carrying costs or other spending impact on the operating budget, including increased or decreased maintenance, utilities, and personnel costs, stakeholders involved, including abutters, other residents and departments, and how they will be affected, and the benefits residents will realize from the project. The capital planning process begins with collecting departmental requests for capital projects. A municipality should use standardized capital request forms and develop a system to organize its capital project submissions. These forms make tracking projects within and across fiscal years much more efficient and make analysis and comparison of projects easier. This slide shows a sample capital request form that DLS's Technical Assistance Bureau has designed for communities to use. It includes the criteria mentioned previously in slide 7 of this presentation. This template can be found on DLS's website. This is another sample project request form used by a municipality in another New England state. Once requests have been submitted and compiled, the responsible individual or committee will begin the review process. The use of standardized forms makes it easier to objectively analyze and compare the merits of each project and its value to the community. The individual or committee responsible for reviewing submissions should develop a priority system to classify requests into different categories of urgency. This slide shows an example where public safety is ranked first for a community, which means projects resolving a public safety issue will be given greater weight in the decision-making process than projects that do not. The next priority in this example are projects that are required by law, which may range from issues related to accessibility, environmental regulations, or others. This priority list should be subject to a community's needs and should be developed with input from all stakeholders. It should also be part of the community's formal capital planning policies. A capital project scorecard, a sample of which is shown here, helps formalize a community's priorities into a points-based system. Members of the reviewing body will assign points to a project submission, with different factors weighed more heavily. Projects may then be prioritized based on how highly they are scored. Adopting sound policies, allowing adequate stakeholder involvement, and giving careful thought to how these scores are determined is vital in creating a useful and objective scoring system. This slide shows an excerpt from a capital plan summary. An effective summary will identify funded projects, note project costs and funding sources, organize projects by functional area, and include prior year's expenditures for reference. This slide shows an excerpt from a completed capital budget. Projects are grouped by department, include a description, the cost for the upcoming budget year, and its proposed funding source. This information will be the basis for appropriations made in the following fiscal year's capital budget. While these appropriations are based on the capital plan, they are subject to change each fiscal year as budget realities solidify. For more information on this or other best practices, please visit mass.gov/DLS or contact the Technical Assistance Bureau at tacontact@dor.state.ma.us or at 617-626-2358.